Someone's broken the door in with an axe by the look of it. Damn! Looks as though Tom has been here. Ugh. God damn it. There are some things you just don't want to see. I'd better get out of here. Dead branches on a dead tree. Looking at that makes you feel much more alive.
Rain, rain, go away. Tomorrow will be a rainy day.
Damn!
Then comes the snow. Don't you know?
Ralph? That you? Ralph!
I was only playing with him.
Ralph! What happened? Am I hearing voices of the dead? Or was that really Ralph? Inspector Spooner.
Yep.
Any new developments in the Tom case?
None. That piece that has disappeared. Not even Bobby's seen anything of him.
Would it affect your transfer if you found him?
What a question. Of course it would. The faster the... Hey, you've not just...
Well, if I were you, when it stops raining, I'd get myself over to the shack in the woods, over at Warm Hill, and, take a closer look around.
Ha! Have you actually found his hiding place? If things get too boring for you up at the castle, I could do with a good constable.
Thanks, but, I've had to answer to a higher calling. Goodbye.
Fare thee well, my lord.
One ruby's enough. The ruby fits exactly into the socket on the hilt of the sword. The sword hilt now has all of its gemstones again. There's a spiral staircase here. I can't see how far down it goes. It has to be a good few stories. Ladies first.
Are you scared? Or are you exercising your role as lord of the manor?
The guardian isn't allowed to die. Those were your words. I'm just playing it safe. That's supposed to be the catacombs? Looks like the sewer system.
Patience. This is just the beginning.
There are hieroglyphics etched all around here. Did the druids build these walls? Here's an illustration of a house and a job. Here's a pitchfork and a flower. There's a bird and a head chiseled in here. There's a fish and a hand on this column. I think that's supposed to be a house, or a shack. A hefty chain. It's hanging into the water. A bird relief.
That's most strange. What are Pictish glyphs doing here on English medieval walls? The house in connection with an amphora. That could mean a store. Amphoras were used back then like barrels are today. An earlier version of a torch, and I've never seen this symbol before. A bird usually represents the death of a person, and we've got the head which fits with this, from whoever. The fish is the symbol for the first day after a new moon. With a hand, though, that doesn't make sense. The house in a circle. That's a new one for me. That could point to a family property or inheritance. The chain comes out of the shaft and disappears into the water. Death on its own without any other glyphs isn't a good sign.
Valentina,
Yes.
do any of these symbols around us mean anything to you?
These symbols look like Pictish glyphs. Obviously an ancient form of writing. More than 6,000 years old. So, I'm wondering what business have they got being on these walls?
Maybe one of my ancestors thought they looked nice? Do you know what they mean?
Sort of. But don't ask me how you vocalize them.
I can't see any other exit here. Can you?
Looks like we're in a dead-end street.
But it can't be, though. It has to continue somewhere. Maybe there's another secret passage.
Certainly not out of the question. Keep your eyes open.
A power socket. But does it have an electricity supply? So now I've got the option to connect something up down there. The bucket is half full of a white salt, probably for when it's icy. I'll take a handful of grit salt with me, just in case I have to help some old grandma cross an icy street. A candle for the dead. Here's the end of the extension cable. A construction light, just like the ones all around the castle. except without any power. Energy. There's a thick electric cable hanging from the roof, just above a puddle of water. Craig was right. It isn't safe down here. If it weren't for me being a former student of physics, I'd call that kind of action suicide. Now, the end of the cable's hanging directly in the water. Valentina! Can you hear me?
Yes?
Must be a seriously heavy water bucket if you need a chain like that to lift it. That's the water pump, which they use to pump away the extinguishing water. It's a real monster, and ancient, too. I'm surprised that thing even works. Quite a clear design. The motor's on the right, the pump device is on the left. The two are connected with a long shaft. The innards of a water pump. I think that's the power connection for the water pump. I guess there were no power plugs back then. Oh, that's just one pole. Does this thing use direct current? So I wonder where you attach the other pole. If I wrap the chain around the drive shaft, I could use the water pump as a winch. I hope the motor's powerful enough. The wire rope is wrapped tightly around the pipe. I guess it's an earth for the water pump. Or is it the second pole? I'll put the cable into the connecting terminal on the pump. There are metal grates lying around the well. No idea what they're for. The power cable is now hanging through the grill and straight into the water. There are only busted boxes and barrels back there. I guess that's the main switch for the electricity in the cellar. Who needs fuses if you've got such a big lever? The electricity is on. I should be careful where I step and what I touch. Boxes of empty wine bottles. Just in case there's a life for me after Mordred, I'm gonna give this castle a real cleanup and throw out all of this old junk. Well, I'll hand the job over to Edward, of course. A shelf of wine bottles. As far as I can tell, they're all still full. 1953. Either extremely valuable or completely disgusting. I'll give the pepper and chilies a miss. The puddle's seasoned enough. Cellars are often used as the last resting place for all sorts of heavy junk. And it's no different in British castles. At first glance, there's nothing useful leaping out at me here. At the second one, too. You can turn the pump on and off with that. You can even adjust the direction of rotation and the speed. Theoretically, I could pump the cellar full of water again, slowly or quickly. I can't wind the chain anymore. Something's blocked.
What are you up to? I'm impressed. I'll fasten the rope up here so we don't lose it. Then I'll drop the free end down the well. The well shaft probably leads directly down into the catacombs. But it's blocked with a grill down there, so you're not going to get that far. Can't get any further here. The corner's just a last resting place for junk.
Damn. And I thought I'd pulled the plug out of the bath. What the heck's a cage doing down here in the middle of the catacombs? Good to know. I could lock up unwelcome visitors in here.
It really would have been better to have taken a hotel room.
If I pull on the rope, that ought to be visible up above. Valentina,
Yes.
what do you think's going on with this cage?
I don't think that's a cage in the usual sense.
How come? Isn't it a wonderful torture device, especially with the water?
Oh, right. So that's your interpretation of a normal cage usage.
Don't forget, I'm being possessed by an 800-year-old tyrant. Have you got something special planned for the rope?
I've got the rope hanging down the well. We could communicate with that. Just pull on it and I'll switch on the winch.
Good idea.
Adrian, are you down there?
Sorry, you must have dialed the wrong well. Okay, hold your breath. was close. It's just getting better and better here.
Adrian? Adrian! Is everything alright?
Yeah, everything's fine. I'm okay. Just a little touch and go, that's all.
Is everything really? Wow. I've never seen anything like this. Isn't that just so impressive?
Well, I'm so glad you like my humble wine cellar. A rusty helmet. Somebody probably lost it. A stone coffin, I'm thinking.
What are you doing?
I'm opening the coffin?
Have you ever heard of rest in peace?
What? When there could be something inside that's vital to our mission?
I just don't think this is right. Not one bit.
I can't get the lid open any further, but it's moved enough to see inside. Pretty damn dusty. There's not much left of the corpse. There's an arrowhead in here. Still looks pretty good. I'm gonna take that with me. There's a rusty broken sword lying on the ground here. No idea how that could have got here.
Oh, forged by an expert hand. Simple, precise, and deadly.
Adrian, what have you got there?
Regrettable that the passing of time has taken its toll on such a fine weapon. It's no more than a rusty bar of steel. Yet the hilt has lasted well. I will.
Adrian,
What?
what's happening to you?
I've no idea. I must have blacked out. I'm back now. There's a weird disc thing lying among the bones.
That looks like a round shield a warrior might use.
There's a small boat here. Something sticking out of the dust. A piece of jewelry, shaped like a fish. There are only a few bones in here, nothing else. A ginormous statue of a guy with a sword, without a head. Could that be Mordred? Hieroglyphic after hieroglyphic, as far as the eye can see. There's something different about this tablet. There's only one of these reliefs here. A strange death's head with a huge mouth? No idea what that's supposed to be. 7 people standing around the place. Oh no, 3 of them are lying down. Are they sleeping or are they dead? A whole load of symbols. Fish, crown, no idea, bones, and so on. There are 6 long chains hanging against the wall, running from floor to ceiling, and then they disappear into holes. And there are some kind of capsules hanging on the chains. Looks like an offering dish to me. Oops. Now that's what I call a door. Solid stone with iron bands and 6 locks. I've got no idea how that works. Looks like some kind of a scale, and it's connected to these chains. Now, what should I weigh? There's a metal capsule hanging between the chain links. Is that a little door? So it is a door. And inside the capsule, there's a golden key. Or maybe just gilded. A golden key from one of the capsules. I think I'm still missing something. Another gold key. I'll I'll try it in all the locks. Well, the key fits in all the holes, but it won't turn. I'll leave it here. I'll try it in all the locks. Well, the key fits in all the holes, but it won't turn. I'll leave it here.
A very strange depiction. What can it mean? Ah, I'm sure that represents the Black Mirror. The death's head is symbolic of death. 7 people, all a little different. Could they perhaps represent different societal groups from their time back then? 3 people are lying down, 4 are standing. In the middle, there's an altar chiseled in. I don't know all the symbols, but they seem to be describing something. At least it looks like they've been divided into 7 groups. Perhaps each of the symbol sequences describes one of the people on the upper half.
It seems to continue here. Valentina, you coming?
Wait,
Yeah?
you see that there?
Yeah. Those aren't hieroglyphics.
That's Latin. Your ancestors must have written that.
And what does it say exactly?
A warning. Beware, guardians of the shades. They will take possession of your soul as soon as you venture into the dark.
Shades? Is that some kind of metaphor?
No, I don't think so. In the Book of Guardians, it said that Marcus had to battle through an army of shades that his brother had summoned out from the mirror.
Makes sense. First Mordred, now Shades. Well, my soul's not gonna get bored, that's for sure. A hole the size of a hand. No idea how deep it is. What's that? A map?
Yes, it could be a map of this place.
There are Roman numerals in the rooms. Valentina,
Yes.
looks like someone scratched their memoirs on the wall.
The hieroglyphics on the wall seem to be describing certain things which were dangerous for them back in those days.
Bread being important I can get. But a bone?
No, I don't mean each symbol on its own, but a row of symbols describes a person, for example.
So like, bread would belong to a baker then?
Yes, but it can also describe other people. Bread was baked by bakers, sold by traders, and also then eaten at some point.
Does it say how you get the door open as well?
Right now, I don't see any connection.
A couple of sticks of dynamite could come in handy right now.
I doubt it. It has to be the case that only people of pure heart can go further down. Dynamite is a somewhat brutal option.
This is one proper labyrinth. Where now? Straight ahead or to the right?
Did you see that? In the room ahead?
What is that?
No idea. But it's moving.
Is that One of those shades?
Whatever it is, we shouldn't get too close to it. Be a good idea to close the door.
Huh? How did you know that the switch was the right one?
I didn't. That's what you call putting your faith in God.
Huh. There's a loose note at the last page. The ancients' graves are watched over by their shades. Their fate has been thus for thousands of years now, with no end ever envisaged. They were born in death, and it is death they wish to spread. The ancients forced them into our world. Thus, they don't belong here. They can be neither caught nor appeased. However, the light from the green flame unsettles them. It drives them into the darkness. One should not come too close to them there. Their power is old, very old.
Ah, I'm sure that represents the Black Mirror. The death's head is symbolic of death. The one lying here has a crown. Could well be a king. The other, a warrior perhaps. Symbolically both rather unpopular. The standing ones seem to be normal people. The one here could probably even be a priest. This one here could be a hunter. I don't know all the symbols, but they seem to be describing something. At least it looks like they've been divided into 7 groups. Perhaps each of the symbol sequences describes one of the people on the upper half.
A little crown, but it's heavy, very heavy for its size. An ornate bowl made of brass or some other metal. No idea what that is. Perhaps a wand. Now the dish is hanging right in the middle. Now all the capsules are hanging level. Something tells me that the keys in there have to be the right ones. I hope those are the right keys now. The locks are all undone. We ought to be able to open the door now. Walls full of skulls. Who were these dead people and where are their bones? Did someone just take their heads? How come? And why are all the statues headless? Is there a connection? The closer we come to the truth, the more questions seem to come up. The guy with no head again. This time, times 4. Did somebody not like him all that much? Mordred, maybe? He went round with his sword going chop, chop, chop. Highway to hell. Damn, the route is crumbly. I hope it's gonna hold out for a bit.
I think we've reached the chapel.
I almost feel like I've come home here.
No, this chapel was built by Marcus and Mordred. It was their last cooperative work. It really is a sacred place.
But Mordred used it for his own dark purposes.
I doubt that.
The purest preaching platform. But for what kind of an audience? Nobody was supposed to find their way here. Everything's very weird. There's a whole bunch of hieroglyphics on the altar.
There's a sentence in Latin chiseled here. It means, at sunrise, the king sent his warriors into battle against the darkness. Unusual for an altar engraving.
Is that any use to us?
I don't know. Perhaps.
You can press in these hieroglyphics. Most probably in a certain sequence. A skeleton.
Those are Maria's remains, Mordred's wife.
How do you know that?
That's a female skeleton. And you can see the sword tip in the ribcage. It broke off when Mordred murdered his wife.
You're right. No idea how deep the water is here, but I'm guessing that we're a long way below the water level. This passage is full of rubble. That goes a hell of a long way down. This light reminds me of the cavern under the stone circle. Could there be a huge cave system under Willow Creek? A whole load of symbols. Fish, crown, no idea, bones, and so on. A whole load of symbols. Wow. A stone coffin with a skeleton in it.
If we were to believe the Book of the Guardians, that was once Mordred.
Hey, Mordred, how does it feel to be looking into your own grave?
Huh, you two are getting closer. Please excuse me.
Mordred's grave.
We're definitely not in the catacombs anymore. This looks more like an alchemy laboratory.
I've been here before.
Mordred?
No, as a child. I've got a kind of faint memory of it.
Have a look around. Perhaps it'll come back to you more strongly.
Yeah. That's it. That's the hole that Angelina fell into as a child. I climbed in after her, but it's blocked up now. No wonder I couldn't find it up on the surface.
And how did you two get back out of there? Through the catacombs?
No. Bates. Oh, it was him. He got us out and then filled in the hole. But before that, we were at the portal. We were standing right in front of it. It's behind this door.
Had Angelina opened it?
I'm not sure anymore.
These are the best blades in the land, forged by the most skillful of smiths. Much too good for those butchers that my brother calls soldiers.
Adrian, you're scaring me. Please, put that away.
And yet, they're nothing compared to my sword.
Adrian, stop it!
Huh? What?
It's all right. Everything's okay. Just put the sword down and then everything will be fine. From now on, we'll have to watch out you don't pick up a sword again, okay? You're not going to go near a sword again, Adrian. Do you understand? We don't want you having an accident or anything, do we?
Okay, Sister Valentina. Is there a reason you're talking to me like some kind of wacko?
None. Apart from the fact that you look like one and are behaving like one. Your eyes have turned black again, and you're fiddling about with a sword, and you're speaking like Mordred. Now then, please do us both a favor and keep your fingers away from sharp-edged weapons.
Whoa, a real witch's kitchen. Mordred would definitely have ended up being burned at the stake sooner or later. Whoa, a real witch's kitchen. That's a depiction of a soul key. A lectern. What kind of a book is that? A monoculus pater omnis thelesmi totius? Ugh, no idea. All in Latin. Prima materia, planet metals, basilisk. Welcome to Discworld. So, how did Angelina just get in that time? That definitely must have looked nicer way back when, but it's very solidly built. If it had been damper down here, then the beams would have rotted away ages ago. Those are really nasty looking gargoyles. Worse than those fiendish things from the academy. There are water basins everywhere here. Mordred must have been a bit of a clean freak. Great. Even more tea kettles.
A really fine alchemy laboratory. There's virtually everything there that they used to use back then. But I doubt that Mordred was interested in creating gold. The flasks point rather more to him being a blender of poisons. A really fine alchemy laboratory. There's virtually everything there that they used to use back then. But I doubt that Mordred was interested in creating gold. The book is open at the homunculus chapter. Is that a coincidence, or was Mordred busy creating an artificial life? Strange. A stove. The shaft once led outside, so there was a shortcut then. That's not ordinary soil. Looks like there's tar mixed in with it. Somebody wanted to be sure. They must have the Tabula Smaragdina here, the fundamental text for alchemy. Eco. Here it is. The Smaragdina tablet, the alchemist's Bible. But I'd better not touch the book. It would fall apart at the smallest touch, like nearly everything here. I don't like secret doors. A considerable sword collection. Mordred must have been quite a weapons appassionato.
So, how did Angelina just get in that time? Valentina,
Yes.
have you got any idea what all this machinery and stuff down here is for?
That's a perfectly equipped alchemy laboratory. Mordred was a man of science.
He's certainly not going to be able to help me with my physics studies. Alchemists were only bothered about creating gold.
That's not correct. There were definitely alchemists who worked on other things too.
Oh yeah, opening demon gates. I'd forgotten.
They also tried to concoct healing potions, or the opposites, poisons.
They were definitely more successful at the latter. Are you gonna let me take a look at your dagger?
What? No, definitely not.
I think I know how to open the door. It's quite simple.
All right then. I hope you know what you're doing. What are you doing there?
There was a door in the academy. It could only be opened with the blood of a Gordon. My blood. When I wanted to help Angelina as a child back then, I'd cut myself. That's why I was able to open the door.
Gordon blood. One further reason why only you can be the guardian. Let me go first.
Why?
I don't know what might happen when Mordred sees his beloved mirror again. Think about that thing with the swords.
Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
What What does it mean? Is that Mordred? Or is that me? Why do I have the urge to touch the mirror?
No, it's Mordred who wants to make you do that. Don't touch the mirror, ever!
Okay.
The reflection shows your soul, and the part of Mordred that's within you.
Mordred? Why does he look like one of these shades?
Mordred's soul is still trapped behind the mirror. What you have in you is the shade of Mordred's soul. We somehow got to send Mordred's soul back into the Black Mirror, and do that without setting it free.
Okay, but how then? Haven't we just had an exorcism that went all wrong?
No, not an exorcism. We need something else. Are you sure there's nothing in Mordred's book you've overlooked?
Yeah, absolutely. I can show it to you if you want. These pages. There's some writing appearing. That must be Mordred's notes. But how come there's something there all of a sudden?
The mirror must have activated it, maybe?
If you believe my ancestors, it's possible that the soul leaves the mirror if the shade is already bound in this world. A reunion of soul and shade would constitute an unimaginable power potential. The soul belonging to the powerful and feared by all King Armundor is exactly the right one for my son to be made into, and what he would have become if my brother had not blah blah. The guy definitely would have benefited from a few sessions with Dr. Winterbottom. But hold it, there's something else here. Everything is prepared. Armundor's bones lie upon the altar. His shade will soon be bound to them. Nothing more stands in the way of the crossing over of his soul. Now all that has to happen is for the boy to be freed from the yoke of his contaminated soul. Soul transfer. Mordred's soul shade in me. Yes, of course. That's his plan. He's lured me here so that his ritual can be completed, and his soul can cross over into my body. That's exactly what the curse has been for.
Only Mordred hadn't reckoned with his soul shade landing in a guardian's body. That's the only reason you've held out for so long.
But that doesn't help us all that much. If we release this shade that's inside me, Mordred's soul will then enter me.
Shh, Adrian. I think I got an idea. Let me think about it for a minute. Adrian's reflection is a mix of his own soul and Mordred's soul shade. I don't have any better way of describing it. There's absolutely no way Adrian's soul can be allowed to lose the struggle against Mordred's shade. But what is on the other side? Only Mordred's soul? Or has Adrian got one of those soul shades as well? Adrian, can you read me the section about the shades from the Book of the Guardians, please?
The ancients' graves are watched over by their shades. Their fate has been thus for thousands of years now, with no end ever envisaged. They were born in death, and it is death they wish to spread. The ancients forced them into our world. Thus, they don't belong here. They can be neither caught nor appeased. However, the light from the green flame unsettles them. It drives them into the darkness. One should not come too close to them there. Their power is old, very old.
A shade is created in every case when somebody dies, but not in this world, but behind the mirror. I know from the Vatican files that there were human sacrifices here, in order to see if their souls were good or evil. The same sort of idea as witch burning. Mordred wrote that a soul could leave the mirror if its shade was already bound here, which is exactly the case here now. So, if Adrian were to die here, then Mordred would win. Adrian's soul would have been freed from eternity, and his body would take on Mordred's soul. But we have to get Mordred's soul shade out of Adrian one way or another. We absolutely have to make sure Mordred's actual soul can't leave the mirror. And Adrian's soul has to stay where it is.
Sounds right.
This altar has so much blood on it. I don't know who or what they're supposed to represent. They're really imposing. Adrian, have another look in Mordred's book. Maybe there's more there now.
I did not want him to die. I wanted to save him from his wretched fate. I wanted to make him my son again. My son, no bastard from the loins of my cursed brother. I have kept to the ritual exactly. Everything has worked well, only I was unable to bring a beat back to his heart. I tried everything, all in vain. From now on, I am quite alone. There is no one whom I can initiate. Marcus has taken everything from me, and now I shall take everything from him. I must make haste. My sword. First, I have to conclude the experiment with it. It appears that I have created a shade for it. That could mean that I can use it on the other side. If I succeed in crossing to the other side without dying, then I will rule both sides. Strange as the black stain on the blade, since its contact with the other side, the black is spreading inexorably. Rituals, experiments with a sword. What the hell was Mordred doing here?
It sounds like he was trying out an ancient druidic soul transfer ritual on his own son.
A soul transfer? He simply murdered him.
Does it give the procedure for the ritual in the book by any chance?
No. Mordred's grave. Mordred's grave. Valentina.
Yes.
You know what's weird? There's light everywhere down here. Even burning candles.
Everything seems to be rather unearthly.
Especially with all the lights.
It could be that they come on when a certain door is open. But when was the mechanism for that installed? And by whom?
Or we're not the only ones who are wandering about down here.
Whatever the case, we still haven't reached our goal. Marcus thought that the way to the Black Mirror had been closed forever with the chapel.
But he hadn't reckoned with the genius of his brother.
Are you starting to admire Mordred?
Just take a look around. The castle up there suddenly seems tiny compared to all this down here. It's so imposing and overwhelming even. Kinda majestic. The vaulted roof is just awesome, don't you think?
I don't think we should waste too much time hanging around.
Mordred's grave.
Mordred's remains. According to Mordred, he used the bones of the dead to bring their shades into this world and then keep them here. So, we could lure Mordred's shade out of Adrian by using his bones, just like he once did with that king. Adrian, we need Mordred's bones for the ritual. Can you do that?
Yeah? In one piece?
Just remember how they all go together, and then lay them on the altar in the same layout. But not yet. Being close to his bones could strengthen his presence inside you. Just let me think my plan through first.
As you like.
There's nothing to discuss with Adrian right now.
I better wait until Valentina's completed a plan.
Adrenaline. It's usually administered intravenously and ensures that the cardiovascular system works again within seconds. I'm not finished down here yet. Mordred's remains. According to Mordred, so we could lure Mordred. Adrian, we need more. Just
yeah.
remember, but not yet. Just let
As
me...
you like.
Kind of unearthly. The water seems to be lit up, but I can't see a light source. I could give Adrian something to really slow his heartbeat down, like a poison. Then, that would have to free Mordred's soul from Adrian's body. But then, Adrian's soul would be freed as well, and he'd die. It could be possible to resuscitate him with adrenaline. I will only have to give him a small shot into a vein soon after. At that time, Mordred wasn't in a position to do that. Nobody knew about adrenaline back then. Today, it's possible. It's dangerous for sure, but it's the only possibility I can see right now. I'd better not say anything about it to Adrian, for now. There's nothing to discuss with Adrian right now. Then, but it could, at that, I'd better not say anything.
I better wait until Valentina's completed.
Mordred's remains. Of course, so we could. Adrian, just.
As you like.
I'm not finished down here yet. Adrian's shade needs a weapon to conquer Mordred, but I'm afraid that an ordinary blade isn't going to do the job. Mordred's already dead, and you can't pass a weapon through the mirror just like that. Wait. Adrian, what was that just now in Mordred's book about his sword?
It says, strange is the black stain on the blade. Since its contact with the other side, the black is spreading inexorably. And here, it appears that I have created a shade for it. That could mean that I could use it on the other side.
That's it. We need Mordred's sword.
Can't be all that difficult. Find a sword with a black stain.
Okay. I think I know how we're going to do this.
I can't wait.
Right. The black mirror seems to be a portal into another world, a kind of shade world. If a human dies anywhere near the portal, then a shade is born on the other side of the mirror. At the same time, there are two possibilities for that person's soul. If they were of pure heart, their soul shade remains behind the black mirror, and their soul
Flies shade free up to heaven?
It's free, yes, but if that person was evil, then their soul is sucked from their shade into the mirror.
And then?
It's trapped. The souls in the mirror are slaves to the shades. They can become their instruments to be exploited.
Oh, that means that the shades are only evil if their soul was too.
Marcus was supposed to have battled his way through an army of shades before he killed his brother. Mordred has found out how to bring shades through the portal.
Okay, but Mordred's shade is already out. You can see that clearly from my reflection.
Correct. Therefore, his soul is more or less defenseless and alone behind the mirror and is just waiting until it can come through.
And that might happen if I touch the mirror. Is that it?
That, we don't want to find out. Therefore, we can bind Mordred's shade to his mortal remains. Doing that stops the shade from getting in our way, at least. And then your shade, Adrian, can take over Mordred's soul. Or even better, destroy it.
My shade? I thought a shade only comes into being when somebody dies.
You do have to die.
Okay. And why didn't you let me jump from the roof then? That would have been more comfortable.
Then you would be irretrievably dead. Adrian, I will resuscitate you. If your body shuts down for a few minutes, your soul will... How can I say this? Be free. I know there are plenty of near-death experience reports which confirm this. A soul shade will generate simultaneously on the other side of the mirror.
Won't that cause some kind of brain damage?
Don't worry, Adrian. The human brain can get by for a few minutes without a heartbeat. Your soul will return to your body just as soon as you have a heartbeat again. It's not the first time I've come across this. Near-death experiences are usually what has happened when people believe that God has spoken to them.
Okay, and then? Is my soul shade supposed to strangle Mordred?
No. We know that Mordred has made the sword usable on the other side. To put it better, the soul-like mirror reflection. You'll take it to the other side and be able to kill Mordred's soul with it. Shades are stronger there than they are here.
Have I got this right? Souls are strong here, and the soul shades are weak?
Exactly, and the other way around too. Which means that Mordred's soul is very weak on the other side.
Well, that sounds like there's some absurd logic to it. And what's the story with Mordred's shade then?
We'll keep it outside the mirror using the bones, so that it can't cross over to defend his soul. After that, the same thing ought to happen to the shade that happens to a soul when the body dies.
It'll go back into the mirror.
But there would still be a problem.
Yeah?
You need Mordred's sword, and apart from the broken tip. I don't know where that is.
In the book, there was something about a blackness that came out from the sword, spreading itself even further.
Of course. That's why Greg and Steve had problems with that. The tea room, the fungus... There was a constant problem there with the damage, apparently, coming from the extinguishing water after the fire.
Then the sword has to be there. I'll go and get it.
Stop. You're not going to lay a hand on any kind of sword, and especially not one of Mordred's. I'll get it. I need to get the book from the library anyway. One about poisons. These down here are somewhat out of date.
And what am I supposed to do in the meantime?
You could lay out Mordred's skeleton on the altar. See you soon.
I can never remember the arrangement of the bones. I hardly ever paid attention in biology. There are just too few pictures of you, Mordred. I'll just take the big bones. All the bones from the hands and feet have already turned to dust. I hope that's not gonna upset Mordred's soul shade. I'll put the bones down first, so it's easier to sort them. Right, so let's see how good my anatomical knowledge is. Yep, that looks right. Now I just have to wait for Valentina.
With a little imagination, you can see the fungus mark is in the shape of a sword. That has to be the right place. The wall's only being held together by wallpaper. The rest of it is totally rotten. One sword with a broken tip. Mordred's sword. Mordred's sword. Centuries old. The tip's broken off. I still need the book about poisons from the library. After that, I'll go back to Adrian. Hopefully he was able to put Mordred's skeleton back together. I've got the sword. Have you done it?
Mordred's skeleton's lying ready on the altar.
Good. Are the bones lying like they were before?
Head at the top, legs at the bottom. I reckon so. Have we got everything we need?
Looks like it. The poison's ready as well.
Is it gonna hurt?
Probably not. It paralyzes the heart muscle, but don't worry. I've got a syringe full of adrenaline here to bring you back to the land of the living.
Sounds like one of Phil's torture experiments, with me taking the Ralph role.
It'll be okay, Darren. Put your trust in God. Now, I'm going to get the poison, and then we can get started. Poison. It slows down the circulation and then the heart stops. Pain-free. I've had to do this all rather quickly, unfortunately. But the books in the library say it ought to work. A vial of poison. It drastically slows the heartbeat so that you die within a matter of a few minutes. If I give it to Adrian, there'll only be a few more minutes to revive him. Good. You have to drink this.
Wait, if I don't manage to finish off Mordred, what happens then?
You have to win. It's your only chance. If you don't manage it, he'll kill you and his soul will take over your body.
How are you gonna know if I've done it? What I mean is, when will you resuscitate me?
I'm going to have to give you the adrenaline within 5 minutes at the latest, or else you'll die. Adrian, you have to do it.
All right. Valentina?
Yes.
See you later.
Yes. See you later, Adrian. Something's not right. Oh god, that's Mordred's soul. And that isn't Adrian's soul shade. I think he's done it. I need to get him back quickly, or else he'll be gone forever. Oh no, it's not working. Adrian! Adrian, come back! Thank God, you're alive.
What happened? I feel sort of different.
You've beaten Mordred, and the curse along with him. You've done it.
Really? The curse is finally broken?
Yes. The last of the Gordons has done it. Let's get out of this place and never come back. friend. How are you getting on?
Pretty well, I think. I'm done with the main points. Now I just have to get everything across into the Book of the Guardians. Do you want to have a look for yourself?
If I may.
Here, I'm not sure about this last point.
That's already a good beginning. When are you going to put it into the Book of the Guardians?
Not before I eat. Anyway, now I know what all those black balls were about.
I can't wait.
Mordred writes in his book that he had carried out a soul transfer ritual, but instead of all the bones, he had only used the skull and one black ball. The shade didn't go back into the mirror anymore after that, but always stayed close by the ball.
Ah, then you can trap souls with these balls as well. To all intents and purposes, they can be thought of as the body, right?
It gets better. Here, with the help of the soul trapped in the ball, one can, to a certain extent, control the shade. He writes that he put a ball in his brother's bedchamber, under the bed, in the hope that the shade would rob his soul in the night. But that didn't work. He suggests that Marcus's soul was too pure for the shade. What do you think? Do you think there are still shades going around today, doing all the evil stuff?
I don't know. But if there are, then it's your job to stop them.